Hello, beautiful people. Today is 11th of August. My name is Sahil and welcome to Newspaper Analysis. Today in the GS Fodder, we will see a quote from Emil Lahoud, who was the former president of Lebanon. He says, democracy, good governance, and modernity cannot be imported or imposed from outside a country. Friends, this particular statement has been given into the aftermath of heavy-handedness of US into the Middle East in the name of imposing or into the name of installing a democracy. Now, we can make interpretation in two ways. First of all, democracy is not just a political system, it is a way of life. And a way of life is not to be imposed, rather, it is self reflected into the people's beliefs and people's ideology. Therefore, there is no point on imposing the democracy. Second interpretation could be this, that guys, though democracy is a very good ideal, but not only the good end is needed, rather the means or the way also holds an equal relevance. And if the mean comes at the destruction of the entire polity or entire economy or society, then such means as well as end is not appreciated. Guys, such a view has also been given by the German philosopher Kant, who talks about the legitimacy of the means into the end versus means debate. He says that not only end is good, rather the means also needs to be good, and such a thing has also been held by Mahatma Gandhi in his one of his ethical views. So friends, we can use this particular instance in both GS paper number 2 as well as GS paper number 4, that is ethics. So that's it, and now let's take the newspaper analysis. Now, friends, first of all, let's take the overview of the entire newspaper first. Guys, political news not important. Pilot gave ATC no indication of danger. Not important news, guys, because with respect to the exam, we had already covered this thing much more extensively. Then, here we can see that it has been said that this year will not be the zero academic year. So, in this particular respect, we will be seeing all the associated issues up to now. Then, guys, the postman bringing the cash, how we can use this particular thing as a reference into the examples, we will be seeing this thing. Then guys, the city section not important for our exam, news respect to the COVID etc not important for our paper. So moving forward, now guys, here we can see that the lockdown is hitting the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, and in that particular direction, policy brief number 8, we will be seeing that thing. Then guys, again we can see that important news with respect to the exam has not been given. Then we come to the editorial page. This particular editorial talks about the hospital fires, because we had seen that there are two instances in Andhra Pradesh and Gujarat. So in that particular respect, we will be seeing the holistic coverage. Then guys, article on China. I think 40 to 50 articles have came on this particular line. Now guys, this particular article is just showing that how China is becoming unilateralist in LAC, South China Sea, etc. Guys, nothing new substance has been given with respect to the exam. Then guys, again this article talks about the rising number of COVID-19 cases and just gives a prescription that we need to do more of testing. Guys, not at all important for our paper. Now, this particular article talks about the recent UPSC result which came, and it is telling that how many people gave the exam, how many people from which category they got qualified. Now guys, very generalistic article. It says that though exam is good, but at the end of the day, when the people come into the bureaucracy, they are not able to perform. Guys, with respect to the exam, much of the substance has not been given. Very generalistic kind of article it is. So here, seeing the shortfall into the GST collection, how they can be made. So guys, good article, some good suggestions has been given. We'll be seeing that thing. Then guys, WHO's relevance is fading away. So with respect to the grant, how WHO is becoming kind of useless, we'll be seeing that particular issue. Then, guys, this article, The Way of Death by Suicide, it talks about the suicide of film actor Sushant Singh Rajput. And in that particular thing, it is just saying that people are actually suffering silently. Guys, I will recommend that please read this article yourself, because the style of writing is good rather than some factual substance. Then, moving forward, so this entire page, you can see that the regional news with respect to the COVID, landslide, etc., has been given. Now, Naga Peace talks hit a road bump. So guys, with respect to the entire Naga peace process, we'll be seeing the issues which are taking place there. After that, guys, moving forward, you can see that with respect to the exam, important news have not been there. Then doctors dying of COVID virus in Bihar, a very sad event, but guys, not important for our paper. Then again, same kind of things have been repeated. Rajnath retaliates the self governance, self reliance. We already discussed this thing earlier. Showcase page, not important for our exam. On world's page also, guys, the same thing is going on. China slapping sanction on US slapping sanction on China, and the rising number of COVID-19 cases. Then on to the business page, balance of payment is improving, so in that particular direction we will see certain issues. Then guys, on to the sports page, nothing has been given here, so that's it. And now let's take the newspaper analysis in detail. Now starting up, here we can see that government had clarified that under no circumstances the present academic session will be considered as a zero academic year. Now guys, zero academic year is one without any teaching or without any exam. And such a suggestion was given under the light of extended lockdowns, and there was no certainty that when the conditions were will be stabilized. However, guys, at the place of zero academic year, the online education was chosen as a medium of education because the age in which the education is imparted happens to be a very cognitively fertile age, and the capacity of brain to learn such new things is immense, and therefore it was not advisable to waste such precious time window. So guys, the higher education institutions, the school, they went into the online education mechanism, but with that multiple challenges came. For example, there was a problem of internet accessibility. Then the people from the lower socio-economic groups, they also have the problem of device accessibility, and there, if there were 3 or 4 children, the problem became even more worse. Then guys, there was also increased screen time which was negatively impacting the health of the children. And then there also came the issue of the parental monitors. Now, what amount of parental monitors are required and how they should be kept onto the children, that was also a matter of concern. And in that particular aftermath, again a kind of a suggestion was made that the online education is not suitable for India's education sector, so therefore again the zero academic year should be resorted. However, guys, the Ministry of HRD came out with the Pragyata guidelines, which provided a kind of a parameter with respect to the online education. For example, it was said that for classes 1 to 8, there should be maximum 2 sessions of online classes of 35 to 40, 30 to 45 minutes each. And for classes 9 to 12, there can be maximum of 4 sessions of 30 to 45 minutes each. Then guys, instant messaging in emails involving the parents as what is the progress and what all kinds of things are going on are also needed to be carried. Then the cyber bullying etc also needed to be taken care by the teachers, and they need to provide instructions to students with respect to the cyber bullying and all these kind of things. Moreover, states also came out with certain innovative measures. For example, the government of Andhra Pradesh started the initiative of Vidya Varadhi, where the mobile vans used to visit the children who are from the low socioeconomic backgrounds, and the online classes were streamed to them through the panels fitted onto these vans. Even various state governments utilized the community radios to provide the educational lectures, and even various states provided the integrated offline voice modules to the children. So, no, but guys, all these things didn't anyhow brought the substantial impact, and according to the United Nations policy brief, it was said that 24 million children will anyhow be abandoning the education, and they are now resorting to rag picking and all such kind of activities. So therefore, physical reopening of school came as a kind of thing which is non-negotiable, because they not only provide education, rather midday meal scheme and all these things are carried through the schools. Schools also act as an institution of social socializing, instilling various values into the children, because the social development is also important. So therefore, now government has said that finally within 10 to 15 days the physical reopening of schools will be decided, and again it has said that the zero academic year is not an option. So guys, with respect to the education into the lockdown, all these things have happened, so please keep them briefly into your mind. So that's it. Now we'll move to next. Now, guys, for the reference in GS mains answers, we can see the example of the postal department's initiative. Now, guys, as the lockdown began and people were in dire need of cash, but at the same time, social distancing and the lockdown norms were to be also to be abided. Therefore, postal department is providing cash at home. Now, guys, under this particular initiative, just by installing the post info app or just by spotting physically spotting a postman, people can withdraw the money from any of their Aadhaar linked bank accounts. Now, this particular thing will improve the ease of governance. Ease of governance means that how effectively the government is making citizens to access all the services as well as government products. Now, guys, such a thing will in return will promote the ease of living, particularly for the elderly people or the people who are more prone to the present crisis. Now, guys, this is a very good example and shows that how actually government is moving towards the citizen concern, and the postal department needs to be appreciated by such kind of thing. Now, guys, earlier also the for the financial inclusion of people, government came out with the schemes such as the banking correspondent or the bank sathi, where the banking correspondents were provided with the micro ATM and they can physically visit the people, and through these micro ATMs the transactions can be made. But they were not that much successful because government did not provided adequate incentives to these bank sathis, as well as there were other logistics challenges also. But now, guys, such a kind of a concept is being reinvented by the postal department, and even now the postal department is successfully conducting more than 1 lakh transactions every day. So we can see that such a service is a massive hit, and guys, even after the pandemic will ease off, such service should continue for the elderly people as well as for the people living into such areas which are not properly covered into the banking network, because it will promote the people to go for the financial inclusion when they are certain that even they can access the money which they will keep into their bank accounts. So guys, a good initiative can be used as an example. So that's it. Now we'll move to next. Now, guys, here we can see that the Delhi High Court has issued notice to the UPSC with respect to the neglect of the disabled people. Now, guys, in this particular respect, we will see the Rights of a Person with Disabilities Act 2016, and then we will go into the news. Now, guys, India has been a signatory as well as a ratifier of the United Nations Convention on Rights of Person with Disabilities, and in order to fulfill the obligations of this particular convention, India passed the Act of Right of Person with Disabilities 2016. Now, guys, this particular act replaces the 1995 Act for the Disabled People and has greatly increased the scope for the protection and welfare. First of all, guys, the disabilities has been increased from 7 to 21, and it includes the locomotive disabilities as well as mental disabilities also. After that, guys, various other welfare mechanisms have also been provided. For example, it has been said that into the higher education institutions, not less than 5% seats need to be reserved for the disabled, as well as into all the education institutions, the inclusive education should be focused so that the disabled people are not left behind. After that, it has also been said that into the government jobs also there need to be not less than 4% of reservation for the disabled people. Then, guys, the children with the benchmark disability between the age of 6 to 18 years, they need to be provided the free education. So the right of education is is extended to these people. Then guys, government started with the Sugam Bharat or the Accessible India campaign, where it was said that the public buildings, libraries, etc. needs to be made accessible to the disabled people. So this act calls that such initiative should be strengthened, and all the actions to made Sugam Bharat or Accessible India successful needs to be taken. Now guys, all these protections are made, but what happened? The UPSC, when it released the notification for the exam in this particular year, then the reservations which have been kept for the disabled people, it is less than the 4% mark which we had seen here, and therefore the petition has been filed in this particular regard. And hence the Delhi High Court has asked that how the computation of vacancy is being done. However guys, the nitty-gritties of the present case are not that much important. Rather, you need to have a holistic picture as what government is doing for the welfare of the vulnerable sections, which have been clearly asked into the GS paper number 2. And in that direction, with respect to the disabled people, this act has been there, and still there might be not proper implementation even by the constitutional agencies such as by the UPSC. So just keep it in mind for the reference. And now we'll move to next. Now guys, here we can see that lockdown had also impacted the treatment under the Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. Now, this particular scheme was announced in 2018, and here government aimed to provide help to the people for the primary and tertiary care hospitalization, and large number of diseases were covered here. The scheme intended to provide benefits up to 5 lakh rupees to 10.7 crore families, or to 50 crore people approximately. Moreover, guys, government can not only take the treatment into the government hospital, but can also approach the empaneled private hospital, where they will get the cashless service, and government at the back end will reimburse the private hospitalization. So guys, it was a breakthrough into the secondary and tertiary care in India. And not only this, the Ayushman Bharat Abhiyan also focused on building health and wellness center, nearly 1.5 lakh such centers, which will be focusing on to the primary level care. Now, the present news item mentions that as the lockdown had started, the beneficiaries under the Jan Arogya Yojana are not getting the benefit. According to the PMJAY policy brief number 8, it has been said that the inpatient care utilization had went substantially down. It had went as low as 75% in Assam, and onto the countrywide basis, nearly 50 to 70% decline has been seen. Now people are not getting the planned surgeries, they are not getting the oncology treatment, and various other illness treatments are being denied. Now guys, what could be the reason for this particular thing? There could be challenges could at two front. There are supply side challenges. We know that government had diverted the resources to COVID-19, and various public hospitals have turned into the dedicated COVID-19 facilities, and therefore non COVID-19 patients are not being entertained, and therefore people are not getting treatment under the Jan Arogya Yojana. After that, on to the demand side challenges. First of all, people themselves are not able to come for their treatment because there are the mobility constraints because of the shutdown of the public transport. Then even after taking that inpatient care into the hospital, there are other economic expenditures also which are needed to be taken care of. But right now, as the economy has been impacted, people are not willing to spend this money onto these kind of cares, and the kind of surgeries which can be postponed, or the treatments which could be postponed, people are going for that thing. Then there is a fear of infections to visit the hospitals, therefore also people are not visiting. But the particular concern is due to the decline in admission for the child delivery services and oncology services, because these things cannot be postponed, but there is also a decline. So guys, the lockdown had also impacted the basic health services in such a way. Please remember the name of Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana policy brief number 8. You can use its name, it will give more authenticity to your answer. So guys, that's all about this news. Now we'll move to next. Now, friends, we are into the editorial section, and this editorial talks about the recent hospital fires which occurred in Gujarat and well as in Andhra Pradesh. Now, guys, the fire in Gujarat occurred into the ICU ward, where in Andhra Pradesh one hotel was taken up for the lease to be converted for as a COVID-19 hospital care facility, and there the fire occurred. Now, this tragic incident raises large number of issues. The first issue that has been raised is the clear lack of preparedness by the state governments to fight the COVID 19. Though private facilities have been involved, but even the capacity into the private facilities is also not there, and therefore, into the hasty process, the hotels such like facilities are being involved which don't have adequate safety measures. Even last year in Delhi, a massive fire broke out in a hotel, and many a times it has been seen that hotel in order to accommodate more rooms lack on basic safety facilities, and such thing was not taken care of. After that, guys, it also shows the hasty contracting practice, as many a times such kind of buildings are taken on contract just to save the cost, which are not clearly safe enough to accommodate such kind of complex operations. Moreover, apart from the fault of owners, there is also inefficiency of civic and fire safety authorities, because they were not being successful to enforce the fire safety norms. Moreover, the random checks and audits of such buildings have not been made regularly, and it comes only to light when such massive fire incident occurred. And guys, the same thing occurred into the Surat also, when last year there was a massive fire into the coaching. So wherever the footfall is such huge, the civic and fire authorities onto their suo moto, they need to be very much active. Now the guys, what happened, as the fire broke, all the responsibility has been bucked up onto the owners, and the agencies are shying away from this particular thing, and it clearly goes away against the Supreme Court's observation into the Upahar cinema fire case, where Supreme Court said that even the ministries and government is also accountable to ensure that standards of safety are being fulfilled. Then guys, many a times the fires also occurred because government, as a part of their regularization drive, many a times even approved the unapproved construction designs, and such kind of regularization is a social evil in various way. In many a times the slums are also regularized, and the building code is not seen whether it is being implemented or not. Therefore guys, into the present times, we strictly need that there is should be immediate implementation and regular audit of the national building code, which provides the adequate safety hazards. Most of the buildings are simply not opting this particular thing. After that, there needs to be clear investment into the sprinklers, alarms, firefighting aids into the public buildings, so that if incident of fire occurred, it can be tamed immediately. Then guys, there needs to be the mechanisms for the regular inspection whether all these things are being fulfilled or not, and in that capacity, the most important responsibility is of the state government. Therefore guys, all these things need to be installed in order to mitigate the crisis into the times to come. So that's it. Now we'll move to next. Now friends, this particular article talks about certain suggestions as how the shortfall in GST can be made. Now guys, before going into the article, we'll be having a brief look onto the background. See, you all might be knowing that the goods and services tax subsumed large number of taxes both at the center and the state level. It came into effect by the 101st Constitutional Amendment Act. Now, guys, as I told you that it took the state government's tax, so there are large number of taxes which were the major source of revenue. For example, the sales tax, it was also subsumed. Even, guys, there was earlier the central service tax. Now, central service tax was imposed onto the interstate trade. For example, a product was made in Gujarat and it was sold into the Uttar Pradesh. So into the interstate trade, the central service tax was imposed and that money was given to the exporting state. Such thing was also subsumed by coming of the GST. So states were very much apprehensive that you are taking all our revenues and how we will get a compensation. So at that point of time, center government gave an assurance to the state government that there will be no loss of revenue. It was said that since state governments are giving up their taxing powers, center government will consider 2015-16 as a base year and will see what revenue the state government receive into this particular year. And it was said that we guarantee you this revenue whatever you received here plus 14% increment for next 5 years. So now state governments were happy that they will not only get the promised revenue but also an increment. And now, guys, center government said that now we will collect the tax and at every 2 month we will pay you your due. Now, guys, at this point of time there was one more apprehension that how center government will bring the money if there is actual decline into the collection. So central government said that we will make one more fund, compensation cess fund. And what we will do, we will levy additional cess onto the luxury items such as the SUVs, on sin items such as the tobacco goods, cold drinks, etc. And whatever money will be collected, that money will go into the compensation cess fund. And if there is any shortfall, then from here we will give the money to the state government. So everybody was happy. And now, just a year back, we had seen that the GDP growth rate is very low and the tax realization by the central government is also low. But the state governments are insisting that you gave us the guarantee that you will pay us the revenue in on the basis of our base year. We don't know, we need that particular money. Now, guys, just a few days back, government paid the revenue up to 1,65,000 crore rupees. But there is now a problem coming that how into the next year central government will pay the money to the state because there is no signs of recovery. So in this particular direction, certain solutions have been given into the article. First of all, it has been said that central government can reduce the period of guarantee from 5 years to 3 years. But we know that there will be a large number of problems here. State will never be agreeing to such a kind of a proposal. Moreover, it will also be a decline of the fiscal federalism in our country. Secondly, it has been said that the central government can provide the money to the state government by using its own revenue. But here's also a problem that central government is itself not having any money because the health expenditure that has to be carried, it is so much. Moreover, thus since the tax collection is so much low, the central government is also the cash starved. After that, it has been said that the central government should borrow money on the behalf of the cess fund. And guys, government should continue this cess onto these items until we are not able to pay back the money which we had borrowed. And then fourthly, sorry, it has been said that the central government should convince to the state government that 14% growth guarantee which was given earlier is not feasible, it is unrealistic. And guys, even at that point of time when such negotiations were being made, there was apprehensions that how this 14% guarantee will be fulfilled, because for this particular thing you need to have so much of the nominal growth rate. But as growth rate is not there, we can convince the state government, and by using such kind of ways we can resolve the controversies, because now the times are really very hard. So friends, if a question in GS paper number 3 comes on this particular line, these suggestions you can also give. So that's it. Now we'll move to next. Friends, this particular article talks about the relevance of WHO into the present times. So as into the past few days we had seen that COVID-19 cases reached nearly 19 million people, and at the same time nearly 0.7 million people also died. Now guys, the WHO is the most important health agency which works at the global scale. It has 6 regional offices and more than 150 country offices, but still it failed to anticipate the gravity of the COVID-19 and was not able to take the preemptive steps. Now guys, into this particular aftermath, it has been said that WHO as a global institution has failed. Now, it has been said that the earliest cases of COVID-19 were registered in November, but they were only reported into the January. Even Taiwan indicated that there is human to human transmission into the COVID-19, but Taiwan's insistence was ignored as Taiwan is not the member of the WHO. Moreover, guys, this is not the first time when it has been criticized, as in 2014 also when the Ebola outbreak was there, then also the WHO was criticized. And even now the criticism onto the leadership have also been made. Now, friends, the WHO faces criticism on all these fronts. It has been said that it has a functional inefficiency, there is organizational lethargy because the action was not taken, then the leadership has been indecisive. It is an underfunded program, which we will be seeing here. Then, guys, it has also lacked the ability to evolve to meet the needs of the 21st century. And now, with respect to funding, there is a very big issue which we will be looking in more detail. Now guys, see, WHO receives two type of fundings. One is the assessed contribution, which are made by the members of the WHO and they have been specifically defined. Then there are the voluntary contributions. Then these are also made by members, and there are private donors also which can make the voluntary contribution. Now guys, the assessed contributions, they are to be spent by the WHO's priorities, which are decided at the World Health Assembly. By the way, this year India is taking the chairmanship of the World Health Assembly, so WHO has a control over this funding. But guys, if we will see the quantum, then only 17% of funding is received into the form of the assessed funding, whereas the 80% funding is the voluntary contribution, and this entire funding WHO had to spend in consultation with the donors, and we know that the rich members are the biggest donor, so therefore WHO's actions are also motivated by the actions of the rich members, and therefore it has turned into a kind of an undemocratic kind of organization. So therefore guys, if a kind of a question comes on WHO's inefficiency, please keep all these points into your answer. Now, however, it will also be wrong to say that it is the entire failure of WHO. Rather, the governments have also been failed. Even in India, we can see that well before the time India got an indication, but still you are seeing that India is now reaching the second number of highest of cases. Therefore, a problem lies at both of the end. But guys, still it is a high time that the genuine reforms in all the global organization towards entire multilateralism are required. So friends, that's all about this particular issue. Now we'll move to next. Now guys, this particular article is important with respect to our internal security GS paper number 3. Now, guys, you might know that there is a lot of insurgency going on into the northeast, and today, by this, we will be seeing about the Naga insurgency. Now, guys, first of all, Naga insurgency is led by the Naga tribes. Now, number one, Naga is not one tribe, rather, it is a family of large number of tribes such as Angamis, Changs, Chakings. So, there are large number of tribes, but they are called by a single name, that is the Naga. They live into the present state of Nagaland, as well as they also live into the regions of Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Assam, Myanmar, etc. Now guys, all of them, they want that a separate greater Naga limb should be made where they live onto the basis of their cultural affinities. And the Naga club was formed in 1918, and for the first time they showed that they want a kind of a politically different entity. And in that particular direction, in 1946, AZ Fizo established the NNC, that is the Naga National Council. and it wanted that they should be given an independence, and even declared independence on 14th of August 1947. And not only this, even they conducted a referendum in 1951 to show that they have a kind of a support of the people also, that they should be reorganized into a separate nation. However, government did not accept that particular thing, and since then Nagas are leading the insurgency. However, as the things progressed, there came some ideological disputes, and NSCN was also divided in two parts. That is the NSCN IM. I stands for Isaac, whereas M stands for Movia. Then, basically, this is on the basis of the name of the prominent leaders. Then, other part became the NSCN K. K stands for the Khaplang, and both of them had and then their own ways. Now, guys, what happened? The NSCN IM is a little bit more accommodating, and with the NSCN IM in 2015, government signed a framework agreement where it was said that they will be given the considerable autonomy. In return, they had to accept that they are the part of India, and they need to give up all their claims with respect to making a separate political entity. Now, guys, there are two problems in this particular thing. First of all, NSCN-K says that the NSCN-IM doesn't represent all the Nagas, and apart from the NSCN-K and NSCN-IM, there are also large number of Naga groups. They are also not in favor. Now, guys, one more problem is coming here, and this problem is by the NSCN-IM itself. Now, there is Mr. Ravi, who played a key role into signing of the 2015 framework agreement, and right now he is also the interlocutor into the Naga Peace deal that is going on, which I told you was signed in 2015. Guys, and Mr. Ravi is also the governor of the Nagaland. And the thing is that just a few days back, Mr. Ravi wrote a letter to the Chief Minister of Nagaland and said that Nagaland is being virtually ruled by the gangs or by the insurgents, and they are running a kind of a parallel government. And he also wanted that even the family members of such people who are involved into such insurgency, they should also be arrested if there is some kind of violence on their part. Now, this particular thing has been considered as a kind of something derogatory, and it has been considered as an insult by the NSCN-IM, and they want that Mr. Ravi should be removed as an interlocutor if the peace talks which have been agreed, if they want to make some kind of development in this particular direction. So now, friends, we need to see that in what direction this particular thing will be moving. So guys, that's all about the Naga insurgency. Now we'll move to next. Now, guys, this particular article indicates that the balance of payment is going to be very strong this particular year. Now, first of all, what is a balance of payment? Balance of payment is a kind of a difference between the money that is flowing outside the country and the money that is coming inside the country into a particular period of a time, traditionally a 1 year. So, guys, balance of payment shows the trade of one nation into with the other rest of the world. And the balance of payment, largely in India, we divide it in two parts, that is the current part as well as the capital part. So if a balance of payment is in positive side, it means that we received more foreign exchange rather than giving it. But if a balance of payment is on negative side, it means that we imported more, we gave more foreign exchange and received less. Now this year balance of payment is said to be positive. Moreover, not only positive, rather because of this our foreign exchange reserve is also improving. And guys, right now we are at the fifth level into the world in terms of the forex reserve. So particular reason for the balance of payment is because of the export are improving. It has been said that now already we had reached 91% of the exports that we were making in 2019, and at the same time imports are also reducing. Now they are reducing into the intensity. Moreover, guys, with respect to the imports, a very big component is the crude oil import, and you know that the into the past few days the price of the crude has been so less that even after importing more also we end up paying the less. And into terms of intensity, we are just importing 70 to 70 per 71% of import that we were doing in 2019. So as a result, our BOP is increasing. Moreover, it has been said that in order to further facilitate the export, government has taken even more steps, particularly into the manufacturing sector, and Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan will also be bringing a lot of benefits. So friends, that's all about this particular news item, and that's it. Now we'll move to the question section. Please pause the video and try to answer the question. So first question is with respect to the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. Please read the statement and identify the correct code. Question number 2 is with respect to geography. Please read these statement and identify the correct code. Guys, question number 3 is with respect to the Loya Jirga, which has been seen into the news repeatedly. Please identify the correct code. Question number 4 is with respect to the Bombay Natural History Society. Please read the statement and identify the incorrect code. And now the question for mains. It is a 10 marker question. Question says that WHO has been criticized for its handling of COVID-19 response. Trace out the reasons which might have led to such lapses. So friends, that's all for today. I hope you are liking our discussion. Thank you so much.